Good evening, folks. It's good to be back with you this week. We did enjoy a week away at the cabin. We weren't at the cabin the whole week, but it was nice to have a little time up there and just be by the lake with just me, Jenny, and the three girls. We really appreciated the opportunity to do that. So my thanks to CT for handling our weekly update last week. And it's me again, so you're going to be stuck with me for a while. Hope the recorded service on Sunday went well, and you guys appreciated some of the little video pieces that we did around the church last week. It's good to see a few of you online with us here this evening. We got Meg and looks like Kathy and Rich and Peggy. I see you guys on there, and somebody else using the church account. So I'm not sure if that's Lan, Shara, CT, or Sheila, but one of them is on here as well tonight. There may be others viewing, but we are glad to have you with us this evening. Just a couple of announcements tonight. The first is that tomorrow is the Women's Connect, so that's 7 o'clock, and the link for that event went out in today's newsletter, so don't forget to check that out tomorrow at 7. Also, the Relay for Life event. This year, obviously, there is no overnight walk because of the social distancing and the health risks, obviously, for those who are battling cancer. But it is a virtual event this year, and we would still love to have you purchase luminaries to support the work of the American Cancer Society in trying to find continued cures and treatments for the various types of cancer that are out there. So if you would like to support that by buying a luminary, again, the details are in the newsletter that went out, but contact Carla Nielsen, and her information is in there. And then we're also going to have a virtual Relay for Life drive-by, I guess, here at the church. And again, the details are available there. Peggy, we did get your prayer request, so know that we will be praying for you as you wait for more information from the doctors on the hernia and how things will proceed with that as well. So glad to have you guys with us. In terms of a little thought for this week, I've been thinking a lot about creativity, because I do feel like with all that we're going through right now, people are starting to get tired. We're getting more tired, it seems like, each and every week. It's feeling like something that was supposed to be temporary, something that we thought would maybe last a few weeks, perhaps even a few months, is getting locked into something more serious, as we're kind of in this now for the long haul. And this quote from Pablo Picasso came to mind. "Every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once we grow up." And I love that idea, right? Every child is an artist. Every child has that sense of creativity. They are so good with their imagination. They're able to create elaborate landscapes out of a few pillows and blankets. And if you throw a couch or a few chairs in there, a single room can become an entire world for a child. And yet, as we grow up, so often we get locked into the mundane. I don't think there's a parent alive out there who ever thought, my greatest goal for my child is that they will grow up to be average. I think every parent has a dream for their children that is something bigger than average, that is something exponentially larger than that. I think we all have a dream and a goal for our kids that they will do something great with their lives. Now, I don't think that necessarily means that we think that they're going to become the next president of the United States or the next CEO of Amazon or Microsoft, or they're going to create that product that transforms the world in some way. But I think we all believe that our kids can grow up in such a way that they will be able to touch the lives of people around them in an extraordinary way. That they'll be able to employ their creative imagination to make a difference in the world. You know, every once in a while when you're reading the scriptures, I find that I come across what just almost appears to be a throwaway line, and yet it's something that is significant, something that matters. And in the book of Genesis, in chapter 4, following the story of Cain and Abel, there's a passage in there that goes through really the lineage of Cain and his children and his children's children and the children that follow after that. And then when we come down to verse 19, it talks about Lamech and how Lamech gets married. And out of that marriage, there are two sons born. And the first son is Jabal. And Jabal, we are told, was the father of those who live in tents and raise livestock. Now think about that for the moment. Jabal is the father of those who live in tents. There was a time in history before people lived in tents. Somebody had to say, oh, if I take this covering and I hang it up, or I take this animal skin and I hang it up, it could protect me from the elements. And instead of having to find a cave to sleep in at night, I could actually move around with the animals and be in charge of the livestock. And Scripture says Jabal was the one that did that. The other son is Jubal. I don't know if those are very original names, Jabal and Jubal. But Jubal was the father of all who played string instruments and pipes. And when I think about that, almost as a throwaway line, there was a time before a stringed instrument existed. There was a time before brass and woodwind instruments existed. And somebody had to imagine what that would be like. What would it take to grab a hollow stick and poke some holes in it and cover those holes with your fingers and then blow into it and make the sounds that come out of it? Somebody had to see that in their imagination. As we step into the future, as we continue now with our online worship elements, I think it's more important than ever for us to employ our creative imaginations, to think about what could be, to imagine what isn't yet and bring it into existence. I know some of you out there today write poetry. Some of you are musicians and enjoy singing. Some of you perhaps just keep a prose journal. And it could be that some of you think, I'm not creative at all. I don't have anything to contribute. But we really are looking for pieces now as the church for sharing with our broader church community. So if you write poetry, we would love to have you write something about your experience during these COVID lockdown months, during these times of social distancing and what that means for you. If you are a musician, we would love it if you would be willing to record a piece of music that we could use perhaps on a Sunday morning for our special music piece that we would be, we'd love to share it with you. It's been great to have Bob Pepper and the choir and Grace Notes and Dave Johnson and others do that for us. If you're an artist and you like to draw pictures, if you have a creative imagination and you want to put something down that way, we would love to see that. We'd love to be able to share that with our broader church community while we can't be together. But know this, God has given you a creative imagination. You are not average. You are, in the words of Picasso, an artist. The problem is how to remain one once we grow up. Now, I'm guessing those of you watching tonight are all grown up, at least in terms of your physical age. I know within many of you is still the attitude and the approach of a child to life. There's a childlike joy that many of you have just when you see other folks, and we want to keep that alive. But we would love it if you'd be willing to share with us some of the gifts and the talents that you have. I want to leave you tonight, folks, with a song. It's a song that is called Genesis, and the two folks that are singing it are interesting characters, to say the least. The first character is Bishop N.T. Wright. N.T. Wright is an Anglican bishop. He was the Bishop of Durham until he retired. He has taught theology at its highest level and has written numerous books on the church and on theology, especially the theology of Paul. The gentleman that joins him on guitar and singing is Francis Collins. Francis Collins is a geneticist. He was the head of the Human Genome Project that sequenced human DNA, and wrote a book called The Language of God. Currently, Francis Collins is the head of the NIH, the National Institute for Health. That makes Francis Collins, if you're not familiar with him yourself, Dr. Fauci's boss. So this is Dr. Fauci's boss with an Anglican bishop. So stay safe, stay well, and don't forget, folks, wear your mask and protect others. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.
Genesis, earth and heaven in a cosmic kiss. Evolution must have been like this, so I believe in Genesis.
DNA, shaping creatures from the dust and clay, double helix in the Milky Way. Oh, Genesis meant DNA. How he made it all 14 billion years ago. Wisdom, grace, and love, for he spoke, and it was so. Genesis, even Adam in a world of bliss, in the paradise we all now miss. So I believe in Genesis. Trice didn't listen to divine advice. Einstein wondered whether God played dice. We're trapped within evil advice. Why they had to fall, I don't know. It doesn't say. They did something wrong, and we long for God's new day. Genesis, royal priesthood in us. New Jerusalem will be like this. Oh, I believe in Genesis.